Good afternoon, guys. I hope that you're having a wonderful Saturday. I just wanted to hop on here in between doing laundry and dishes and things that are my Saturday to talk about the post I posted earlier about the discount happening at Everlywell, because some questions have come up about when the Everlywell testing is useful or beneficial and how that differs from the things that we offer, like the genetic testing, because they're entirely different. They have nothing to do with each other. So I want you to understand my stance on blood work. Blood work is not a diagnostic tool, ever, under any circumstances. You don't learn anything about your diagnosis from blood work. It is impossible. So why would I recommend an at-home blood work, right? Because I hate blood work. Let's first talk about what blood work does do. Blood work allows you to follow a trend. If you see a trend, you want to retest. If you see the same trend, then you know that something's going on. That trend has to also correspond to what's happening in your life. This is why the assessment that we do is more valid, more accurate, and more useful than any blood work your doctor has ever done. Because your doctor doesn't learn anything about you that is going to be beneficial to you in an effort to get well when they do blood work. The reason doctors do blood work in their office, just so you know, is that they don't get paid well for an office visit. Insurance companies tell them, if you run a CBC and metabolic panel next to the 6 minutes you have to spend with your client, we'll pay you a little bit more. An in-office CBC costs them roughly between $1 and $2 to do, and it increases the amount that they get paid about $14 to $20. It's about making money. It has nothing to do with you. It's about compensating them for their time. So don't think that when you go to the doctor and they do blood work that it has any other purpose. It is not in your best interest. You've got to understand this. So what does the DNA testing do, and why do we recommend that? Genetic testing tells us about potential triggers that you can control based on your diet, your lifestyle, and your supplementation. This is the most proactive way to approach your health, because you are not the sum of your genes. Your genes are not the roadmap to your health. Your genes give you information that tells you how high your likelihood is to have a negative outcome if you don't control what you put in your mouth, if you don't have the right nutrition, if you don't take the right supplements, if you don't live the right lifestyle. And we talk about those things when we do the analysis after you get your results, because that is the most important thing for you to understand is, what are my epigenetics, the things that I control, have to do with my health, and what genetic issue might I not turn on or not trigger? Because remember, genetics loads the gun, but epigenetics pulls the trigger. You cannot have a genetically linked disease if you don't do the things actively to create it. Every disease we have, we cause. We are the root cause of every problem we have, and we are the solution for every problem that we have. There is nothing that you are a victim of. So, with genetic testing, we're able to say, you have a higher risk of inflammation. You have a higher risk of cardiac issues or fertility issues because of MTHFR. You have a higher propensity to have inflammatory and metabolic diseases because you don't detox properly. Then we can give you a step-by-step playbook for the rest of your life on how to not have those things happen. So if you had grandparents with high blood pressure, grandparents with diabetes, parents with heart disease, parents who had cancer, you don't have to have those things because you have control over how you live. And then you don't do the thing that caused that trigger for them so that their gene became dirty, right? And that's a term from the book Dirty Genes. It's just an easy concept to understand. You can clean dirty genes so that they're not, you have the pros and not the cons. There are no bad genes, none. I have the BRCA1 and 2 mutation for breast, ovarian, uterine cancer. Those are not bad genes. What they tell me is I need to avoid sugar. I need to avoid inflammatory foods. I need to eat right. I need to exercise. I need to get lots of sunlight so that I don't have the same problems that my predecessors had because they had terrible lifestyles. My grandparents were alcoholics. They were smokers. They drank They ate a lot of sugar. They were carb loaders. They were overweight, obese, in fact. They created their cancer that killed them. It is not because of their genes. It is because of their choices. Genetic testing is, in my opinion, the foundation of understanding you and preventing problems. The Everlywell thing is a limited time for Labor Day, and I don't recommend blood testing. I want to be clear about that. They offer lots of testing. They offer food sensitivity testing. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no blood work that will give you food sensitivity. They're highly inaccurate. The only thing I use by Everlywell is the women's health and the men's health. Those are hormone testing. It is not my favorite panel. I would like a more comprehensive panel if we're working with hormone health. I would like you to go to your frickin' doctor and I will give you a list of what to demand that they do because they don't know how to do their job. I will tell you exactly what to have so that your insurance pays for it. But some people want to do at-home testing, and that's why we offer Everlywell as a baseline. I only recommend blood testing if you are already doing everything I have told you to do or that your team member has told you to do. Is your diet perfect? Are you working on your sleep? Are you working on your stress? Are you taking your supplements without fail? Have you done every single thing we have recommended and are not getting results? That is the only time I want a baseline hormone test so I can figure out which hormone your body isn't making, and we can teach the body to make the hormone. We're not going to hormone replacement therapy. We are not going to other products. Everlywell offers their own supplements. They're trash. They're absolute shit, garbage. Don't buy them. This is a tool in addition to every other tool that you have to help you get closer to your goal. So the men's health test is normally $249. It is currently $174.30 with the 30% off. The women's health is the same, $249. It's $174.30. What I like about it, here's what I like about it. It offers a 24-hour saliva cortisol. When we are talking about stress, which is a key component when people are not seeing results, even if their diet is spot on, even if they're exercising, even if they're getting enough sleep, and they're not losing weight or they're not repairing thyroid function, it's usually because they are stressed, because their cortisol is too high, or their cortisol has been so high for so long that now it's low and they have Addison's. The 24-hour saliva cortisol is the only way we're going to know that. So if you go into a doctor's office and they pull a blood sample and they give you a cortisol level, it's one time during the day. It tells us absolutely nothing. It is less than useless. With a 24-hour saliva cortisol, we can watch what your cortisol does throughout the day in accordance with your circadian rhythm to see if your cortisol is spiking at a time it should be low, or if it is low at a time it should be spiking, which can affect fatigue, it can affect weight gain, it can affect a number of things. It can affect thyroid function, it can affect gut function. And there is a two-way street between the brain and the gut. There is a two-way street between the gut and the hormones. There's a two-way street between the gut and the heart. The gut controls everything. So if you are not already eating strictly paleo, then you don't need blood work, because you have not done the very basic thing that is going to help you feel better. So fix your diet first. That is the most foundational thing you can do. And if you are trying to choose between $199.99 on VIP for the DNA test or $174.30 for something that tests only 6 hormones, do the DNA test. I mean, that is just logical, common sense. I put this out there for people who I personally am working with and have said, I think that we need some baseline hormones. This is what I would like you to have. Here's a list to take to your doctor. Or if you want to do something simple first, this is a secondary option. Those are the only people who should be considering this right now, is if one of our team members said to you, I think this would be a good option for you because you're having hormone issues, and I want to get to the bottom of which hormone needs to be fixed. And what we're looking at, just so you know, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, free testosterone, DHEA, TSH, T3, T4, and then the 24-hour saliva cortisol. The way that Everlywell works is it is an at-home blood draw. That means You are not going into a lab. You are doing a finger prick and filling a well with your own blood and then mailing it out same day. With the women's health, it actually goes around your menses. So you will hold on to it until it tells you in the kit when you should test. So there are a total of 11 things that are tested for. It is still not a complete hormone panel. If I'm working with somebody who has really complex hormone issues, we're going to do a Dutch panel. That's way more complex. It's way more indicative of what's going on, but it also costs around $500. So this is an entry-level hormone test for people who are not seeing the results, even though their diet is spot on. And if you're not sure if your diet is spot on, that's the place you start. You meet with your team member, you go over a 5-day food log, and you figure out where the holes are that you need to fill. So I didn't post this to cause confusion, and I didn't post this because I wanted everyone to get it. I posted it because normally we give our clients 15% off when we recommend it. I got an email this morning from Everlywell that said any of your clients who use your referral code are going to get 30% off until Labor Day. So I wanted to pass that on to the people who we've mentioned it to, so that you could take advantage of it and get an extra 15% off. But this is not for everyone. As a matter of fact, it's for very few people. So be aware, and if you have questions, reach out to the team member that you're working with and ask them what's more beneficial for you. Because at the end of the day, what matters is what your goal is. We're not throwing spaghetti at the wall at Bedrock Nutrition. Our goal is to have a plan that makes sense, that follows science, and that follows your biology. What tells us what's going on with you is how you feel inside your body. That's why we ask you so many questions. It's why the assessment takes 1 hour to 2 hours. It's why we follow up that assessment with a new edited assessment every 90 days. Because you tell us more about what's going on in your body than anything else. If nobody's listening to you for more than 7 minutes, tops, at a doctor's office, they don't know shit about you, and they certainly cannot give you advice. So this is why we want you to take control of your health. This is why the assessment is the most accurate and most logical way to hone in on what's happening inside your body. And then we add the layer of genetics to get even deeper into what is preventable, why these things might be happening to you at a higher rate or at a faster pace, or why you're not recovering as quickly because you have slow recovery, you have slow metabolism, you have slow detox mechanisms. That's what the DNA is about. So the DNA is the most useful tool outside of the assessment that you have access to, where the nutrition is going to fill the gaps. It's going to find the places where, regardless of how good or bad you're eating, we can bring you from where you are to where you want to be and bridge that gap so that space is less. Because you aren't just what you eat, you are what you absorb. And if your gut is compromised, which every person who has an autoimmune disease, every person who has a metabolic disease, every person who's inflamed, every person who's having symptoms has gut function issues, because your gut controls the rest of your body. So fix the gut, fix the human. And if your gut is compromised, you might not be absorbing the nutrition you need, and that is where supplementation comes in. If there's a genetic predisposition to something, and there is a genetic mutation or SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism, that prevents you from absorbing nutrition from your food, or it prevents you from creating hormones, vitamins, etc., because on that pathway there's something blocking it, then that's a place where we can intervene with nutrition and use supplementation to get you past that. So I want to be extremely clear about the Everlywell thing. It's fantastic. If you have ongoing issues, but you've already been working with us, your diet is tight, and you have questions about your hormones, then I would recommend it. And then once you get the results, it is your responsibility, just like with the DNA test, to send your associate on our team your results to review with you. Just like if you go to the doctor and they give you lab results, it's your job to give them to us so that we can review them with you, so that we can actually explain what they mean, because I know damn well your doctor doesn't. Now, Everlywell also offers over-the-counter STD screening. Like I said, don't do the food allergy testing. Don't do the food sensitivity testing. Those are useless. There's no food sensitivity testing that is that's done through blood that is accurate in any way. They're less than 1% accurate. Now, you can do just a vitamin D test. They do, there is a test for the Lyme markers. They do, like I said, HIV testing and other things like that. But the only panels we really use are the excuse me, the men's health and the women's health panels. And like I said, if you have insurance, I'm going to send you to your doctor and I'm going to give you a list and you're going to say, this is what you're going to do because you work for me and I'm telling you what I want and you're just going to fucking do what I tell you. That's how we deal with doctors. They are your employees. You tell them how to do their job. We're going to help you know what you should be looking at when you work with us one-on-one in the assessment. So don't just run out and buy things because they're available to you. Ask us if this is relevant to you in your unique situation. Then we can advise you on whether or not this is a good thing for you or not, or if it's a waste of your money. Because the one thing I don't want you doing is running out there and wasting money on shit that isn't good for you. Not everyone needs the same stuff. You are unique, and everything that we do is about you, not anybody else. There are thousands of people in our groups. We have got tons of different groups for tons of different reasons. And not everybody needs the same stuff. So I hope that clears up any confusion. If you still have confusion, please reach out to your team member or me to answer your questions. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your weekend.